All right, so I was just reviewing my, hello YouTube, and hello to the people that have watched my previous video about gastritis and celery juice. A lot of people have been asking for an update. It's been a couple years now. I don't know how many, maybe three. Um, it's 2024. So, yeah, anyways, I was watching this celery juice, this video that I put out where I rambled for 40 minutes. Um, that's kind of my style, but the point is that I wanted today to do an update. A lot of people are asking, and I know that I would definitely want to know. To the people that are asking, yes, I do still drink celery juice. This was 30 ounces. I drink anywhere from like 30 to 40 ounces is what I'm comfortable with. You really do become a connoisseur of sorts of celery once you drink it for years. Even after like a couple months, like 3 months, you start to get to know um, the different types. There's different locations where it's imported from. Um, there's different, I think, species and breeds. According to Anthony William, the medical medium, um, the different types of celery that you take in have different like effectiveness at replenishing um, some subset of um, the seven hydrochloric acid varieties that exist in your gut to produce gastric acid, um, which is relevant because this is about healing gastritis, right? So just to try to get to the point, because I have this issue where I kind of ramble. To get to the point, to answer people's questions, I am still juicing. I'm not doing it like as consistently as I should because there's been various reasons in my life where it was extremely impractical or I just physically couldn't do it. Um, the times when I have been juicing consistently, it does make a difference. Actually, to be honest, the most apparent difference that you feel is actually just your general well-being, your mood. Your skin is the most obvious thing. People will always point out that your skin looks really clear. I can say that for my mother and for my grandmother, who are over 60 and over 80 respectively, when I put them on this protocol, celery juicing protocol, after like 3 days, you could just see, 3 days of celery juicing every day in the morning, you could see their skin was visibly clearer, healthier. They look younger. Um, I can also say that from my grandmother, who has some mild form of kind of early onset dementia, the combination of lemon juice, 1 liter of lemon juice, lemon water in the morning, waiting 30 minutes, following it with 16 ounces of straight celery juice, waiting 30 minutes, following it with uh, you know, this blueberry detox smoothie, doing those three things every morning within the span of 1.5 hours, and then waiting 30 minutes before fat-free breakfast and no fats until noon, and trying to keep fats low. Um, that was a huge difference for my grandmother. Um, I mean, she went from like being, I guess in Chinese we would say dai dai de, which means she's kind of almost like a vegetable state, where she was just kind of just gazing off, just watching paint dry, and just her mental acuity was just not there. When she first saw me, she took a while to recognize me. Just her speaking, you know, she went from that in the span of about, I'd say, 10 to 15 days. I mean, after like 4 days, I noticed something, and then like after like 2 weeks of doing this, straight, we had we had her meet up with her old relatives, and I took a video of it. I mean, I have videos. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, because it's privacy. I might not post it, but believe me, I have no reason to lie to you because I'm not paid. I don't get any money for this. I'm just doing this to help people because I suffered and I got better, and I want other people to get better too. But that was like a huge 180-degree change for her. She was like, I mean, she wasn't, super clear, but like she went from, I'd say, like 20% capacity. If 100% is what she was when she was 50, where she was super clear, she went from 20% to like, I want to say like 80, maybe 75. So like, and she was like talking to people. I have a video of her talking and just conversing, and it was just such a huge difference. She was so lively, she was so clear, and I could see too when I was talking to her. I remember when I first came, and then every day I would kind of give her these juices, try to nurse her back to mental health. And that is very dramatic because her condition, usually these early onset dementia conditions are caused by heavy metals, according to the spirit, which communicates with Anthony William. It's caused by heavy metal buildup, causing misfirings in the neurons. Um, you know, so now I personally believe he's telling the truth. I personally believe that, despite the fact that there's a big financial, advantage of him, whatever, I choose to believe that he is telling the truth, and that. But here's the point: it doesn't matter if you believe in that stuff or not. The only thing that matters is, does it work? Does it get you better? That's the only thing that most people care about. Is it going to get me or my loved ones better, right? That I can 100% say, without a doubt, was, it was huge. It was a huge change. Personally, for me, I don't have dementia, so it's harder for me to go from a little brain fog of 85%, of my full mental capacity to like 95. That 10% is harder to tell. It's not as dramatic as my grandmother going from 20% of her mental acuity to 80%, But for me, when I stay on the protocol of drinking the blueberry detox smoothie, I do get this very clear energy, and my dreams, I remember my dreams, very clearly whenever and I just feel very, like, mentally very sharp. Now, getting back from that sidetracking, that digression, to the celery juice thing. Celery juice, so the answer is yes and no, okay? The long answer is yes or no. If you're thinking that celery juice, you're going to drink it once, or you're going to drink it for, a week, and gastritis will be done forever, the answer is no. It doesn't work that way. It took you years to get sick through repeated, whatever it was in your lifestyle, that was causing you to get gastritis. It took you years to get sick, and it'll take you years to get better. It's not going to be a magic bullet or a magic pill. But the times when I have been following the protocol, his recommendations in general, and also for gastritis, I have felt better. Now, the reason why I'm not completely healed, in my opinion, is twofold. Number one, even though I've mitigated the environmental stressors and the habits that I have that cause gastritis, I haven't completely eradicated them because I'm so used to it, and I just, sometimes I give you an example. Like, I'll eat something late at night, right, which is not good. Or I'll what else do I do? I'll eat something kind of oily. I'll have some French fries at McDonald's, right? Which oil is kind of irritates the stomach if you have gastritis or IBS or SIBO, right? I was diagnosed with. I have gastritis. I've been diagnosed with all three, so it's all kind of like connected. So I think that if I were to just cold turkey completely cut out, like, be very dedicated, not just for 2 weeks, which is what I've been able to do, 2 weeks at a time, or sometimes a month at a time, but actually go for like 6 months and just be really straight about doing all the things that he recommends, like to the letter, and not deviating at all, both in the diet and also lifestyle, including exercise, everything like that, for like 6 months, just focus completely on that, not work or anything, just completely focus on getting better. I do think I would have a significant increase. And that being said, even though I haven't been super faithful to the protocol, the times that I have done it, for the span of like 14 days, I did feel a lot better. Okay. And then when I do get off it, it kind of comes back slowly, and then and it can get, just as bad to where it was before if I continue to neglect my health. I will also say that he recommends mono eating for people with very sensitive stomachs, and that to me was revolutionary. I mean, now, granted, mono eating, it's really boring, okay, and it takes a lot of discipline. Although after you do it for like 3 or 4 days, you can kind of get over it and kind of get used to it. You can get used to anything, but it is really boring. It's hard to sustain for a long time. I think he says that, there's a 369 cleanse that he recommends. So 369, that's like 9 days, right, total. I've done mono eating cleanses for like 2 weeks at a time, 2 or 3 times now. I think 3 times. Every single time, after the first day, you already feel great. And then other than the fact that you're craving, kind of mentally thinking like, I wish I could eat whatever, blah, blah, blah. Other than that, you do feel digestively very, very good during that time. I will say, though, that you do feel a little weaker. Like if you're only eating bananas, for example, that's kind of hard because bananas don't really have that many calories. So you do have to do frequent meals and try to eat enough. But the thing is that it's not that appetizing to me. So I don't really, eat it that much. And so I just end up feeling a little bit like less explosive energy than usual. Instead of doing 24 pull-ups in a row, I can only do maybe 11 or 12. That's not bad for a 40-year-old man. So, yeah. So the answer is, I do think it's effective. I do think it works. I do think that it has the potential to like really get you to 90% or 95% if you really follow it for a long time, like an entire year, let's say, and you just follow it to the letter, like everything he recommends you to do, and you just cut out all fats completely, And he does recommend garlic and onion for antiviral properties. And viruses and bacteria are definitely involved in SIBO, IBS, gastritis. However, I think that those things are contraindicated by conventional medicine for gastritis and stomach issues. And I would say in general, yeah, it's probably best to avoid them in my experience, garlic and onion, But for the most part, if you listen, read his books, listen to his podcasts. He does take a while to get to the point on his podcasts. Some of my friends whom I've recommended him to for various health concerns have mentioned that he is a little long-winded, kind of like me. So, if you can tolerate that, do that. I would actually recommend his books, though. I think his books are much more packed with like useful information. It's much more direct, and it's narrated in a voice that's more, I don't know. It's a pleasant English woman's voice, so it sounds a little nicer. And if you can read. If not, it's 2024. Get Audible. Get an Audible subscription for $11 a month. It's worth it. Your health is worth $11 a month. And just buy his audiobooks. They're pretty good. And Cleanse to Heal is good. Liver Rescue is good. Right now I'm listening to Brain Saver. That one's really long. But Cleanse to Heal is good. Liver Rescue, those two I'd recommend. And it's just really easy. Whatever you're at the gym or you're just doing something like waiting in line at a restaurant or waiting for the train, commuting, whenever you're doing something, or at the gym, just put them in and just listen to the audiobooks. You can get a lot of information that way. And I'd say that I am inclined to believe that he is legitimate. If I had to go, do I think he's legitimate or do I think he's just, full of shit and he's just doing this to make money? In the beginning, I didn't know, but the more I've been listening to him and following him for a while, and I've also seen a lot of people that he's helped, and I've seen, like I said before, with my grandmother, my mother, I've seen firsthand, and everything he says kind of makes sense. Like this theory that we have about lupus being autoimmune. you got to understand that at every point in human history, we always think we're at the cutting edge, but then like 10 years later, we're like, oh, actually, we didn't know anything. And then 20 or 50 years later, 100 years later, we're like, what are we doing? I'll give you an example. Mercury, right? In the 1800s or whatever, like English children used to play with mercury, because they thought it was cool. And then they used to shine hats with mercury, right? Hence the Mad Hatter syndrome or whatever. They also, when the rubber, rubber nipple came out, they were recommending that to mothers for newborn babies. And newborn babies were getting sick because they didn't know what bacteria were. Back then, if you told them that there was these little microorganisms that, these single-celled, whatever, they're not single-celled, but, well, are they? I don't know. It's been too long since I've taken biology. If you told them these little things exist that make you sick, they'd be like, they'd laugh at you. I mean, the people that were watching this, they're like, nah, they take it seriously. No, they'd laugh you out of the room. They didn't know anything about bacteria. Okay? They didn't exist. They would laugh. It's almost as ridiculous as saying, oh, there's a spirit that's talking to you, that's giving you medical advice. Whatever, right? But now we know that's actually true, right? Like bacteria and viruses do exist, and they do make you sick. With the plague, they always thought it was miasma. So that's why they have those long beaks where they have the flowers, because they believed if you breathe the flowers, it would filter out the thing that transmit the vector, the transmission vector for the plague, which was miasma. They didn't know that it was actually fleas that are transmitting some sort of virus or bacteria, right, that was infecting you. Same thing with the cholera outbreak, where John Snow, I think that's the scientist's name, he secretly poisoned the public water well with chlorine because the government wouldn't approve they're like, you're crazy, you're crazy, there's no such thing. So he just went off and did that, and then people got better. And then he's like, oh, by the way, I put chlorine in your water and I killed all the bacteria that was causing cholera. The point of this huge ramble is that to say that we don't know as much as we think we do. Now, okay, I'll caveat that. When it comes to like some surgery, I mean, surgery is incredible. In 2024, if you look at surgery and the steps that we've taken in the past 100 years, like 1924 versus 2024, holy crap. I mean, if you've seen the movie Idiocracy, where the guy impales his crotch on the spike, and then he just he undergoes reconstructive surgery on his testicles, and then produces hundreds of offspring. That really happens today. I mean, people don't die. There's no natural selection because you can do dumb stuff. And some guy got his arms cut off by a tractor, and he got both of them attached. There's a video on YouTube of that. It's amazing. And they have for tonsillectomies for children, for the adenoidectomy and tonsillectomies, they use like this laser, like this mini lightsaber. It's like a cauterizing gun. The technology is amazing. Heart transplants, liver transplants, kidney transplants, this kind of stuff. You can break your bone, and we're so good at that now. Now, that being said, when it comes to chronic illness, this is something that Anthony Williams says, which I really agree with him on. We really don't know that much about it, right? It's kind of slow. It's a slow process, even today. But the thing I was getting back to with lupus is that, once again, I'm kind of going around in circles, is that we think it's autoimmune. So we think that the body somehow, like, for somehow, some way, mistakes its own cells for enemy cells. Yeah, and then attacks itself. But according to him, it's actually a virus. It's Epstein-Barr virus, EBV, which I think he says is also responsible for breast cancer. Anyways, I digress. But anyways, the point is that we don't really know that much about modern chronic illness, like lupus, for example, or even leukemia or something like that. For lupus, we think that's autoimmune, but it may not be. I mean, if you think about it for a second, you've been kind of force-fed this your entire life, like, yeah, it's autoimmune, But then if you think about it, like what Anthony Williams says kind of makes sense. He's like, why would the body, like, does it seem right to you that the body would just, I mean, the body's so incredible. It keeps everything it does, all your liver and your organs and heart, it like naturally just works to keep you alive. Like, why would it really make that type of mistake? I don't know, maybe, but his theory seems plausible too, And it may turn out that, 20 years from now, the conventional medical world will say, yeah, actually lupus, we're discovering that lupus is actually caused by EBV. Now, are they going to give credit to Anthony Williams? Probably not. But maybe it'll happen. Maybe not. What was my point in saying all this? My point is saying that Oh, it's 20 minutes now. So, make your own judgment. Go ahead and listen to him. He's pretty interesting. His books are a little more succinct than his podcasts. Um, and make your own judgment. See if you think he's just a liar or not. Regardless, I think there's a lot of people on YouTube that he has helped. I mean, there's people that have gone from night and day where they were bedridden and they couldn't get out of bed. There's one like Asian American woman that had lupus, I think, and she documented like her journey from like being bedridden, not being able to get up, and then she followed everything to a T. She wasn't like me. She didn't just do it like half-assed. She actually followed everything, and she got better. She got better, and amazed all the doctors. So, but she's not alone. There's so many people out there. So, no, I gotta finish this juice. I haven't drank it because I've been talking so much. Yeah, you do tend to become a connoisseur. You learn about the different types, and you know when celery is good and when it's not good. And you get used to the flavor after like 2 weeks. You're completely used to it, and you kind of like it. At first, the first time I had this stuff, I was like, no way. There is no way I'm ever going to get used to this. This tastes nasty. I like spat it out. But as Viktor Frankl says in his excellent book, Man's Search for Meaning, he says, Viktor Frankl, for those of you who don't know, is a Holocaust survivor. He said something that stuck with me to this day. The main thing that I got out of that book was this line, which is that he learned that human beings can get accustomed to anything, even things that you think that you can't get accustomed to, you can get accustomed to, and you can get accustomed to celery juice. Now the money is another thing though, because right now I'm spending, I juice three big stocks to get 30 ounces, and that costs about $6 or $7, $8 because they're organic every day. $8 in 10 days is $80. In a month, which is 30 days, you multiply that by 3. 80 times 3 is $240. So spending $240 every month, that's a lot of money. In a year, that's $2,400 plus $480. So that's that's $28 to $80. So almost $2,900, almost $3,000 every year on celery juice. It also takes a lot of time. You got to clean all the machines and stuff, but So those people who are wondering, check out the medical medium stuff. Buy the audiobooks on Audible. Listen to them. Start following his advice with lowering the fats in general, even plant fats. Keeping a low-fat diet. Try celery juicing every morning. One thing I noticed, though, that I'll say before I leave here, a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of the influencers and the TikTok girls and guys, fitness gurus, they're like 18 years old or something. They're not really even sick, to be honest with you. So like I said, if you're going from 95 to 98%, you're not going to notice a difference, okay? But if you're like that Asian American girl in the hospital and you're at 15% and you go to 60%, you're going to notice that's a fourfold increase. You're going to notice a difference in your health. So take everything TikTok influencers with a grain of salt. Just do it yourself. And this is what I say for everything in life, not just celery juicing. Whatever it is, do your own research, do it yourself, and see if it works for you. Okay? Go ahead and do celery juice for a month. But I'd say also, it's not enough to just do celery juice. You have to also change your lifestyle. So if you're on forums every day on YouTube, or if you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook and you're stay-at-home mom and you're just arguing with people, keyboard warrioring, and causing these adrenaline surges, which are causing acid reflux for you every day, celery juice isn't gonna. It's gonna help, but if you're hurting yourself constantly, you know what I'm saying. So you got to really, for 30 days, follow everything he says, give it a shot, and see if there's a difference. And from that, you can extrapolate that. Okay, if I did feel better in those 30 days without drugs in natural ways, that means that if I were to continue and if I were to be really faithful and disciplined and patient with this protocol, I'd probably make a full recovery, right? That's my answer to your question, is that yes, I do still juice. Yes, I have gotten better. Although it's also gone down at times when I've abused myself and I haven't followed this protocol, for whatever reason. So I think it's not a magic pill. But even magic pills aren't magic pills, because magic pills have side effects. And when you stop taking them, the symptoms come back, right? So it's just like that. It's just, the only difference is that this is a lot more work, a lot more time consuming. In some ways, it might be more expensive, but it's natural. And it probably won't hurt you, right? I mean, celery juice is probably not going to hurt you. And I think you really do feel good overall. So give it a shot, try it out, and yeah. Who knows? Maybe you try it out and you're like, nah, this is not for me. And that's fine. But then you tried it out, right? So just give it a shot. I do also realize that some people have told me, when I've recommended celery juice, they've said things like, well, the juicer is so expensive, it's like $80 or whatever. It's like, depends on how much you value your health, and how much faith you have in this. If you don't believe in it, then don't do it. But let's say you're really sick, like a lot of the people that are watching this video, like I was, and doctors and drugs have not helped you, and you're really desperate. Then you might put aside some of your ice cream money every month, or whatever it may be that you do. If you live in the South and you like shooting guns, and you spend $4,000 a year on ammunition, maybe don't shoot for 1 month. And just buy celery juice and the celery juicer. How much do you value your health? How much do you want to get better? Because if you don't want to get better, doesn't matter what your mom, your spouse, or anyone else in your life wants. If you yourself do not have the desire to try to get better, nothing's going to help you. All right. Good luck. Hope this helps.